Fuck the Oscars, you know? Fuck the Oscars! Fuck you!
The movies, the internet stuff is so violent. It's so incredible.
I see worried about it just because the consumption of these violent video games has been going up continuously since the early 90s, and yet youth violence has been going down.
Look at juvenile crime statistics, which have gone down dramatically over the past 15 years. It really doesn't seem to bear what the American pediatrics.
You can pick up guns, knives. You can now choose to punch, kick, headbutt people, stab them.
Good. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this night edition, 6 p.m. of Tuned In Live. I'm also here with my co-host, Empire. You gotta excuse his quality.
Aliens have abducted my...
Yeah, his internet isn't all that great. It's coming in and out here or there. Plus, where he's at is storming, so his internet is not picking up all that great. So, you guys, I mean, we're gonna try the best to get through this with Empire. Best I could say is the aliens have taken over his taken over his internet.
I blame Area 51.
Yeah, that's what happened. The signal from Area 51, they knew we were going to do this podcast today, so they were like, yeah, we're gonna fuck with his internet connection today. So without further ado, we're gonna get rolling into this shit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to an episode of Tuned In Live. Today, we're going to explore why Earthlings are so interested in Area 51. What do they got locked behind those gates? What do they got down in them bunkers? Is it E.T.? Is it Beldar Conehead? Is it the aliens who hijacked Empire's internet? Or is it the one that's responsible for Cypher's chair? Oh, he's trying to come in, guys. His internet real bad. Oh,
Hold on, I'm in my truck.
it's a lot. It's really bad right now. It's like if you thought it was bad before, it's like a lot worse. Like you're stepping away from your connection. It's like goddamn.
You know what?
Oh.
I am.
Yeah, you broke up real horribly.
How about my signal?
It's a shame you don't have 4G. Oh god, now I can hear myself. Nope, never mind. So there's something I want to go on and say. Damn, I'm hearing myself again. Oh well. So I want to go on and say this. Okay, so somebody, of course, everybody's posting this week. Everybody's posting this week that Area 51. I don't know how it started. I don't know where everybody got the idea of, oh yeah, let's go storm a government facility way out there in the west. First of all, where's that located? I forgot where that's. Oh, so it's out there in Nevada. Yeah, I kind of forgot where it was. Like last couple days. It's located in Lincoln County, Nevada. It's a United States federal government facility. The name Area 51 is the common name of the highly classified United States Air Force facility, which is located in that area. Officially, the facility is called the Homey Airport or Groom Lake, named after the salt flat situated next to its airfield. Blah blah blah, mumble jumble. Basically, it's located in that portion of Nevada. The surrounding area is a popular tourist destination, including the small town of Rachel, Nevada, on the extraterrestrial highway. What is the extra? Oh, it's Route 375.
375? I thought it was going to say around 50 or something.
Yeah, I was here. I knew about one of the routes. Man, I can't do it. Me hearing myself.
It's your end because my end's also echoing.
Huh.
And I don't have one Wi-Fi.
That's weird, because before you weren't even, none of us were even echoing before you went out to your truck. So I don't know.
Actually, I was.
Huh. I don't know anymore. It's my
So,
voice meter banana and
Let's
all.
all take a bet here. Who's gonna be? How many people are actually gonna show up?
None. I
I'm
don't
gonna
see.
say at least 100,000, and it's the morons that have been killing all their lives.
Yeah, because I'm like, we hear about Area 51 in movies. We hear about it in TV shows, and
Independence Day, perfect movie.
well, yeah, because they were like, oh, we got one of those aliens trapped down in the facility, at Area 51. The spaceship crashed out there long ago, and our depiction of aliens has varied and differed over the past, God, how many years? 60, 70 years.
Let's define the word alien at first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's define the word alien because there's several meanings to it.
Yeah.
You got illegal alien, you have the UFO aliens, and then again, aliens in the Bible are represented as demons also.
Well, here's another thing. Alright, UFO is also known as a unidentified flying object.
Correct.
So not necessarily is a UFO reference to an alien per se. Like, let's say we all know what a satellite looks like. We know what a plane looks like. We know what drones look like now. They're all over the place. So if you don't know what it is in the sky that's just hovering there, if it's not a plane, if it's not a drone, if it's not anything of that nature, it's basically considered a UFO. It's an unidentified flying object. It's unidentified until you identify it and know what it is. Now, when it comes to aliens, aliens are different beings from any other planet. Now, I believe, just like several other people believe, there are beings out there that exist. We're not the only living, breathing beings in the universe. God created the universe. It's a depiction between religion. If you're religious or if you're more into Scientology. Scientology, you got brains like Stephen Hawking's and all of them who believe in the Big Bang, and then all these planets were formed. But okay, all these planets were formed. How was life created? And then, of course, comes the evolution of we evolved from gorillas or fish or wherever the fuck we were. They want to say we were evolved from, that kind of thing. But then you got all these other planets out there, and even NASA is they're discovering more and more planets every day. And I think they just discovered a whole new other solar system too, I believe.
Well, from what I heard, though, they could possibly be moving life to Mars in the next couple hundred, maybe 50 some years.
Yeah, that is true. They've been talking about that like with the moon for so long.
Yeah, well, the moon ain't gonna be able to support life unless you build stuff up there.
Yeah, and I don't know what you just did, but you're coming in a lot more clearer now.
That's because I'm not using Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. What are you using? Your cell network?
Yep, cell network.
Okay, it's not going to run out, is it?
No, it shouldn't be off Discord.
Okay.
Yeah, because before off Discord and all that.
Yeah, because you're definitely sounding a lot better than what you were on your internet.
And I'm smoking my lucky cigar.
Okay. And we got Koopa. He's here with us in the chat. If you want to join in the Discord, I know you're on Discord. Hop on in, man. You're free to do so. Anybody who has any opinions, if you know what?
I just thought about this. If anybody's gonna raid Area 51, they need Rambo.
Yeah.
They need Rambo.
I think somebody posted that. They said,
Did they really?
Yeah, I saw it last night. It was Sylvester Stallone, and there was somebody else who was like, "Yep, we're ready for Area 51."
Jeezy, face.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
Seen Chuck Norris.
yeah, he'll go bash it in there. All he needs is a pistol. He needs a fucking wheel gun with 6 bullets in it. That's it. Let's see. I want to read up a little bit on this.
Send it, Steve Cody. He'll stalk the shit out of him.
Nah, he'll shut that whole place down. The fucking aliens will come out and they'll fucking close the damn door. They'll close the door and say, "No, you let me listen now," and shut it. Let's see this Route 375, the state highway that's in Nevada. It begins at a Y junction with State Route 318 at Crystal Springs, which is a ghost town in the northern end of the Paranagat Valley. I guess I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, that's right. The first nuclear bomb.
Yeah, it's in Lincoln County. The site, which is a little more than the junction and a few trees, functions as a rest area. The top secret Area 51 government base is near there, and many travelers have reported UFO observations and strange alien activity along the road. Such stories prompted the state to officially designate the route as the Extraterrestrial Highway in 1996. Small town of Rachel, located in the midpoint of the highway, caters to tourists, geocachers, and UFO seekers with alien-themed businesses. Although the area receives some tourism due to the alleged extraterrestrial activity, 375 remains a lightly traveled route. Why did I just open up my Xbox companion?
The thing about that is, though, Arrow,
Yeah.
is that about Roswell, New Mexico,
Oh, yeah, I forgot all about that.
back in the 1950s. So, whatever happened there must have got transferred to Nevada.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, let me look that up. Roswell. Is there even a... Okay, there is a Wikipedia on that.
Because I know there's a couple of tour sites in there on Roswell.
Let's see. In the 1930s, let's talk about a museum. Roswell was a location of a military importance from 1941 to 1967. In 1967, the Walker Air Force Base was decommissioned. After the closure of the base, Roswell capitalized on its pleasant climate and reinvented itself as a retirement community. Roswell has benefited from interest in the alleged UFO incident in 1947. It was the report of an object that crashed in the general vicinity in June or July of 1947. Allegedly, an extraterrestrial spacecraft and its alien occupants. Since the late 1970s, the incident has been the subject of intense controversy and of a conspiracy theory regarding a classified program named Mogul. Many UFO proponents maintain that the alien craft was found and its occupants were captured, and that the military then engaged in a cover-up. Recently times, the business community has deliberately sought out tourists interested in UFO, science fiction, and aliens. In 1978 or 79 and 2002, Roswell was named one of the All-American cities. So, yeah, because New Mexico, it's not too far from Nevada.
How far is Roswell from Nevada? Google that up.
Yeah. Let me see that.
Because I'm curious if they moved all that to Area 51, and that's when they created Area 51.
Let's see, how far is Roswell? Okay, so... Not Roswell, Georgia. God damn it, there's a Roswell down in Georgia? Wow. So, alright, so if you travel from Roswell, Georgia to Area 51, that's 2,077 miles. That's like a day, 1 day, a 13-hour travel. But that's not what I want. Oh, okay, so, there's a state in between them. So it's 893 miles. Area 51 is near Groom Lake, Nevada. What state is called the Alien State? Okay, Nevada. Okay, what state is called the Alien State? Probably Nevada for the most sightings, Area 51 overall, or New Mexico because of Roswell. How far is Albuquerque, New Mexico from Roswell? 201 miles. Is there a Spirit Halloween store in Roswell? You know those costume stores, Spirit of Halloween. They come out around September or so. Somebody's asking, "Hey, is one of those stores out there?" I don't know. Are there any aliens in Area 51? Although possible, it is highly improbable. I doubt there is much going on.
Top secret military.
Yep, that's why people want to go there. They want to know if, you know, our government has anything covered up down there in those facilities.
Let's see if they discovered. Hold on, I just gotta see something.
Mm-hmm.
They have a cover up of Roswell, okay, and then been still classified. Where do you think they stored that at?
Well, they gotta have
the new military stuff that's coming out from the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah, you know, they build all these bunkers. You know, they're all underground bunkers. You know, there's nothing going to be above ground, so they dig all these underground bunkers, and they store a lot of the stuff in there. Like what they got stored, I don't know.
I think Area 51's more military cover than Fort David or Camp David.
Yeah, because it's like if there's nothing really of any importance down there, then why are they so secretive about it? You know, I can understand like. Back in the day, our U.S. government was trying everything they could to protect us. But nowadays, you got... I'm not going to go too much into politics, but you got politicians that are trying to get a president out of office and all, rather than worry about the safety of our country. So let's say E.T. were to land somewhere out there in Tennessee or something... Maybe, that would make some fucking news history and all, but...
Somebody better hire Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. Hire Jack Nicholson. Well, I'll give you guys a heads up. It is storming out my way, so if the stream happens to cut short, then you'll know I lost power or I've been abducted by aliens. Yeah, they're bringing in them 60-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, it looked like it just crossed over Virginia not long ago.
Yeah, no. Let's see. I doubt there is much going on Area 51 anymore at all. It has received much publicity and seems to be the focus. Come on, this goddamn article keeps jumping up and down every time I read it. Focus.
Everybody wants to screw an alien for some reason.
Who knows? Whether there is any truth to this or not, I don't know. But I had heard that shortly after the 1947 crash in Roswell, New Mexico, the military had removed everything from Area 51 to some secret place in Ohio. So now they're somewhere in Ohio. So now I gotta look that up.
Going down there.
Let's see, aliens in Ohio. I hope it ain't no fucking Papa Grizz bullshit.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh shit, actual alien. Okay, I think there has been alien sightings out in Ohio from what I remember hearing on the internet.
I don't remember that crap.
Hey, Kira's in the house. What's up, man? We're talking about aliens. Our voices are dubbing on his end. So let's see. 67 UFO sightings in Ohio in 2017. 67 UFO sightings. in Ohio. Were they in Sydney, I wonder? I don't know.
You
let's...
know what's funny now?
Yeah.
I've read something up on Google that they're starting to arm planes with to mark if they are.
I barely caught some of that. Did you say they're starting to arm planes?
Yes.
Huh.
With some kind of sensor
Oh, wow. That's...
to detect UFOs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, is Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones gonna man the damn thing too? But I'm looking at this article, I'm like, okay, 2 years ago, 67 UFO sightings. Like, what alien is coming down to visit Ohio 67 times in 2017? What's going on in Ohio? Like, what's specifically going on in Ohio that's not going on anywhere else?
The Fat Squatch has returned.
Probably. So let's see. Ohioans, that's what they're calling them, have spotted a lot of UFOs. In fact, Buckeye Staters have had approximately 67 encounters with unidentified lights, flying objects, and creatures from other planets since January 1st, 2017.
What creatures? Is there pictures of this?
They probably found a wild hubba out there. Before assuming all of the UFO spottings took place in cornfields of the tiny villages dotted along the highway, many of the sightings were in Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, or in well-populated suburbs. It appears aliens are happy visiting every corner of the state. Though there's something going on out there in Ohio if they keep coming down here. Like, you got alien sightings in down there in Area 51, you got them in Roswell, now you got them all out in Ohio. That's like I said, what interesting thing is going on out there in Ohio? Like, is that the birthplace? Well, it's the birthplace of Papa Grease.
I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, let's see. UFO sightings have been common through the decades after the first well-known reported in Let me look at that. The 1947 UFO sighting. I want to read up on that. I heard about it, but I've never really read up on it.
Right.
Let's see. 1947 alien crash. Oh, the alien crash. The Roswell incident. Okay, so there's quite a few things here. Is that what happened? There goes the truck. Let's see. 1947. Damn pop-ups. Get the fuck off my screen. A high-altitude balloon crash landed in Roswell. The aliens never left. Okay, so that's what it was. It was a balloon. In Roswell, New Mexico, exactly 7 decades this month. When was this article posted? This is on the Smithsonian website. Alright, so this was posted back in 2017. I guess this is when all these sightings were happening in Ohio. Okay, so let's see. Let's start closer to the beginning. On June 14, 1947, a rancher named W.W. Mac Brazel and his son Vernon were driving across their ranch land some 80 miles northwest of Roswell when they encountered something they had never seen before. It was, in Brazel's words, a large area of bright wreckage made up of rubber strips, tinfoil, and rather tough paper and sticks. The metallic-looking, lightweight fabric was scattered, shredded across the gravel and sagebrush of the New Mexico desert. Brazel didn't know what to do with the newfound items or how they had landed on the property, so on July 4th he let me stop right there. That's funny how they say July 4th. And of course, what famous fucking movie introduced us to the fucking shit a little bit more mainstream? Fucking Independence Day. So let's see. On July 4th, he collected all this items from the mysterious wreckage. On July 7th, he drove it to Roswell, delivering the goods to Sheriff George Wilcox. Wilcox, too, was confounded. Seeking answers, he contacted Colonel Butch Blanchard, commander of the Roswell Army Airfield's 509th Composite Group, located just outside town. Blanchard was stymied. Stymied? I guess that's a word. Working his way up the chain in command, he decided to contact his superior, General Roger Ramey, commander. Alright, there's a video of the Roswell incident. I'm going to play it for you guys here. Even though it's 16 minutes long, I'm going to play half of it, maybe. Or maybe just a little bit.
Came here specifically because I have pictures to show, but...
What's going on?
Our show, it's good.
Are you back on your Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I'm back inside.
Yeah, I figured, because you're breaking up again. So let me go ahead and play this. This is somebody discussing the Roswell incident. I'm probably not going to play the whole thing, but let's see what's going on here.
No artifacts to show. There is, unfortunately, no real artifacts from the 1947 Roswell incident. We'll talk a lot about that in the next few minutes. And we're recording this for posterity, so at some point in the future you should be able to find it online as well. Basically, I want to set the scene for you from about 1947. I mentioned UFOs and the Cold War and chicanery in the desert, and all of that seems to be appropriate for this particular talk. In 1947, the United States was beginning to enter a very serious environment with the Cold War. The Soviet Union was looking like a very dominant power in Europe. It had taken control of much of Eastern Europe. It looked like it was going to try to push in and take control of places like Greece and various other parts of the Balkans. And there was great concern that we were going to be head-to-head with the Soviet Union in a competition that could last a short or a long time, but may well end in nuclear annihilation. So there was a lot of concern about that. It's in this particular context that the UFO craze in 1947 really begins. It all starts really with a fellow named Kenneth Arnold. The picture that you see in the back here is him. He was an amateur pilot. He was a businessman. And he was flying around Mount Rainier on June 24th, where he claims to have seen an unidentified flying object, a UFO. Now, UFOs are legitimate. Probably we've all seen UFOs, something we cannot identify that is flying off in the distance. The chances are, at some point in time, as you continue to look at this thing, you will be able to identify it. But for the moment, it's a UFO. He saw something, we think. He certainly reported it as such. He called it a flying saucer. And that set off a real craze with lots of people. Here you can see on the left-hand side this magazine, Fate, which has the story of the flying discs, as he called them. And it kicked off a wave of UFO sightings beginning in the latter part of June of 1947 and running through the end of that particular summer. More than 300 were reported at the time, and just over the 4th of July weekend of that particular year. So people are seeing lots of things. What they are seeing is anyone's guess. I would be willing to bet it was not extraterrestrial, whatever it was, because there's just no indication of that anywhere in any documentation that anybody can find. Also, later in life, Mr. Arnold's story changes somewhat. Here he is, a bit older, describing more what he saw, which is not a flying disc at all, but looks more like some sort of a bat thing that, and I'm thinking of boomerang or something like that, that is what it looks like. But nonetheless, it set off this craze, and lots of people saw lots of things. In the summer of 1947, Roswell was a sleepy little town in New Mexico. It was dominated by farming and ranching, especially ranching in the area. There was a military base there. where the 509th Composite Group was located, which was the organization that had dropped the atomic bombs at the end of World War II. So it was a very famous organization. And a rancher by the name of Mac Brazil found something out on some of the property that he had about 80 miles or so out of town that he couldn't quite identify. He threw some of it in the back of his truck, and he drove downtown and talked to the sheriff, George Wilcox. And he says, I don't know what this stuff is. It looks kind of weird. You know, you think it has anything to do with those UFOs that people are talking about? He did that on the second day after, well, he did that on the 8th of July, which is just a few days after the 4th. And immediately Wilcox called the local Air Force base and said, hey, we got a rancher here who found some stuff, and you guys need to come take a look at it. So they did. And Butch Blanchard commanded that particular Air Force facility, and he sent Jesse Marcel, the fellow in the middle, who was an intelligence officer, over to talk to the sheriff and to Mac Brazil, and to go back out to where this site was and to pick up whatever was there. They went back out and they loaded a bunch of stuff into a truck. It didn't amount to a lot. It looked...
What was that?
I didn't say nothing or something.
Oh, okay. Were you able to hear it all right?
Oh yeah, I was able to hear it perfectly fine. I'm reading up on it real quick.
Okay. I'm going to continue playing it for a little bit.
There were some metallic things. There were some things that looked like balsa wood. There was other stuff that was in this as well. And then they brought it back to the base. Eventually, this material goes to the 8th Air Force commander, Roger Ramey, who's up in the Dallas area. And there's a interesting sort of press release, maybe not a press release, more like a verbal conversation that Marcel and the local information officer had with the local newspaper in Roswell. And it ends up creating this particular stir. On the afternoon of the 8th, it says that the Roswell Army Airfield captures flying saucer on a ranch in Roswell region. And the key piece to this, now this is an afternoon newspaper from the Roswell Daily Record. The intelligence office of the 509th Bombardment Group at Roswell announced at noon today that the field has come into possession of a flying saucer. Okay, well now this sets off everybody literally around the world. As the media starts to get interested in this, they publish stories, you hear radio reports, there's all kinds of activity that's a result of this. Everybody who can get there sends their journalists into the area to start investigating this further. All of this within less than 24 hours is turned off. The next day, the Roswell Dispatch, which is a morning newspaper, imagine, by the way, a city having two newspapers, especially one the size of Roswell. I mean, it's unheard of today, except maybe New York or Chicago. But the Roswell Dispatch, which is a morning newspaper, publishes big headlines, Army debunks Roswell flying disc, as world simmers with excitement, and indeed they did. The officers then turn around and say that the disc is really a weather balloon. The operative quote is, Roswell bounced into the international news scene yesterday when a flying disc was reported 85 miles northwest of town and 25 miles from Corona by W.W. Brazil. Now that's the rancher. And until the 8th Air Force headquarters in Fort Worth announced that the disc was nothing more than a weather balloon, the entire U.S. and England seethed with curiosity over the report, and the Roswell Telephone Company was busy handling calls from every city in this country and several from across the sea. So they debunk it within just a few hours and in this particular speculation. When the afternoon paper in Roswell is published on the 9th of July, they've got more information, and they've now talked to General Ramey, who's up at the 8th Air Force, and he shows them what they found. Among other things, he said that the mysterious objects were a harmless high-altitude weather balloon, not a grounded flying disc. Excitement was high until Brigadier General Roger M. Ramey, commander, cleared up the mystery. That's pretty much the end of it for the time being. They did publish some photographs. Let me show you some of those. Here is the intelligence officer from Roswell, Major Marcel, who's looking at the stuff, and you can see it looks kind of like Mylar. And there's some sticks and things that are down toward the bottom. Let me get my handy-dandy pointer out. And you can see these sorts of things over here. And those are very light sort of wood, or so it's, or it was reported as such. Let's put it that way. Here you can see a similar, it's taken place at the same time in the same building, the same chairs are in the background, and that's General Ramey looking at the same stuff. What this actually was, by everybody's account that anyone can come up with, is that it was a part of a balloon that wasn't a weather balloon at all. There was good reasons to keep that a secret. It was a part of a Project Mogul effort. And Project Mogul was an effort by the Department of Defense, actually before this time, the War Department, to create the ability to find out if the Russians have a nuclear weapon. And so what they wanted to do was to send into the upper atmosphere and float it over toward the Soviet Union a sensing device that could detect sound waves from an atomic bomb test, trying to determine if the Russians had the bomb.
Yeah,
now, by the way, they would get the bomb in 1949, and it's because of this kind of...
Yeah.
They had the bomb back in, like that guy was about to say, 1949. But if you look on this one point I just shared,
Yeah, I was just reading it.
it says Delhi Force authorized.
Yeah, I'll read it out since you're breaking up again. Yeah, but you just shared the thing in the Discord. It says, the government wasn't helping to quell speculation either. After their most secretive sites, they posted large, unambiguous, no trespassing signs, often with a reminder to those who enter illegally, use of deadly force authorized. And the alien hysteria has gotten even wackier by the early 1990s with a scant evidence to support it. A global UFO and extraterrestrial industry had come into existence. There were more movies, books, newspaper and magazine stories, television news segments, and shows focused on visitors from space. Yeah, and with everybody wanting to storm Area 51, I'm like, you all got some balls to do that, because they've already done said, I think it was the U.S. Air Force or whatever, they already done said, like, you come storming here.
Secret Service.
Secret Service, yeah. Like, yeah, you go storming there, they're gonna gun you down. They don't care. I mean, you gotta figure right now, like, our U.S. government, like, as corrupt as they are, they've done so much in the past, well, let's just say the past 100 years, to protect us from whatever, basically us as human beings, like I said before, in a vast galaxy, a vast universe, like, well, we're one of the galaxies in the universe, but in this whole universe, there's so many different types of species, so many types of aliens. We're aliens. We're humans, but I guess we can consider ourselves aliens in the universe. Because I mean, who knows? We watch movies like Star Wars, Star Trek, all that. Like Star Trek, they have several different beings. Like Empire can label them all out.
Oh yeah, several.
Like, let's say you got.
But if you read Star Wars, or if you do Star Trek, you still see that they still go compared to Star Wars, particularly to.
Man, that just broke you up real bad. It's like a half of it came in, the other half was just the.
Okay, so Star Trek is mostly exploration.
Yeah.
Star Wars is just wars between two factions.
Yeah, that's all that is.
So.
And of course, like TV shows and movies like Star Trek, like you said, it's about exploration. You got a group which can be combined of different races or factions. Like, let's say you got humans with Klingons, with whoever, what faction is, what race is Mr. Worf? He ain't Klingon.
Romulans.
Yeah, you Romulans, Klingons, you know.
Cardassians.
Yeah, and they go out and they explore other vast worlds, other alien life. So we're not alone in the universe. We're not the only beings out here in the universe. You know, there's other beings out there. And you got people who are skeptic to the idea, and they're like, there's nothing else out there. I'm like, so you mean to tell me you have this infamous universe? We don't know if it ends. We don't know if it has an end. It's infinite. You got thousands of galaxies, thousands and thousands upon planets and moons. So you mean to tell me that in this whole vast, this big universe, this infinite space, you mean to tell me that we are the only living, breathing beings in this universe? It makes no sense. You broke up.
I said possible.
Yeah. And we have all these, you know, sightings down here on Earth. You know, it's believable. You know, usually you got two types of alien beings. You got the ones that are here for, you know, exploration, maybe experimentation. And then you got ones that are out to, you know, do harm, you know, out to take over worlds or whatever, you know. I mean, I know some people believe that as fiction, but look at us in general as human beings. Like, when we see something that's new to us, like, let's say we see some kind of new bug that comes out during the summertime, and there's always some new fucking bug or some new reptile or something that comes out. Unlike the fucking toad I stepped on Tuesday morning. But let's say you see something new. You become curious. You don't just look at it and say, whatever. We as human beings, we grow a curiosity for certain things. So we haven't, you know, there's very rare people who claim to have seen extraterrestrial life and even live to tell it, because I don't know. I've heard stories about this movie called Fire in the Sky, about an actual UFO abduction that has happened. I'm pretty sure you've heard of that movie.
No, actually, I haven't.
All right, Travis Walter extended. I don't want to do an extended interview. So this movie, Fire in the Sky, it's based off. It's based off this guy named Travis Walton, who was abducted by UFOs, and the movie is loosely based on the incident. But I've heard part of the interview. I'm gonna play a little bit of it. Hopefully, I get some of the good stuff out of it, because the interview's an hour and a half long. I'm not gonna play an hour and a half of this guy. You know, I just want to go into certain things. Yeah, your internet is like, ugh. It's like I'm only getting every other word now. Let's see, Travis Walton. Okay, this was 7 years ago. This is the Travis Walton, yeah, and it shares a new theory on the Fire in the Sky abduction. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this. Hopefully, there's no ads. Yeah, there is an ad. Why do they bother to put 2 ads on a YouTube video? I'll never understand that. I hear the thunder roaring in the background. Alright, here we go.
I'm thinking now that the reason I was taken aboard was because there was no choice. I would have been dead.
When you hear about someone being abducted by aliens, it usually brings up the sense that it is being done against the individual's will and seems innately violent. The abductee is poked and prodded for research, then left almost discarded. This is how the Travis Walton case was essentially portrayed in the movie Fire in the Sky, and this was in fact how Travis interpreted the incident himself. However, recently, it seems that Travis has re-examined his beliefs and is coming to a somewhat different conclusion.
I used to sort of accept the terminology abduction, but now I'm calling it more of an ambulance call. I really think it was an accident. I don't think they were firing at me or, trying to, stun me or punish me or anything like that. I think it was some kind of an effect of the propulsion. They were powering up to leave and just get away from us. And I raised up and got too close, and I think some kind of energy just found its way to ground. In hindsight, I'm thinking that a lot of the terror and a lot of the fear that I was reacting with and the pain I was experiencing had nothing to do with anything that was being inflicted on me, and it was just sort of an accident of circumstance. The crest of the ridge was to our right and a little, higher than the road itself.
When he started speaking about his experience more than 3 decades ago, the subject was looked upon with much ridicule, and through his many lectures and travels, Travis has been able to connect with others that have had similar experiences.
I really feel a kindred spirit with these people that have, gone through the kind of emotional impact. Because, prior to this, even though everybody's probably thought about it to some extent, to know for sure suddenly changes your whole perspective on the whole, life in general. I came to realize there's some very good cases out there, some very important things, some people that really ring a familiar bell with me. And there are other cases that are, I have my own doubts about. But I resolved not to, speak publicly about the difference between the two because, it's just not fair to do so without having done the research. When you run into people that have experienced something so profound, it is kind of validating.
Walton has carried this emotional burden with him through most of his adult years, and some of the torment can still be seen in his eyes. However, his sense of confidence is also evident, something that is a result of years of contemplation and coming to terms with his experience. Having Steve Pierce and John Goulet speak out about the event is also something that has helped give Walton a sense of solace.
I think having the other guys, validate, I'm not just alone. I feel like a broken trail for them, but at the same time, having them come along and add to, what I'm saying, really does help a lot.
Recently, Open Minds brought attention to the polygraph test that was administered by law enforcement shortly after the incident. And as technology improves, Travis continues to take these tests.
Here recently, I underwent 2 more tests from a firm that does work for the Albuquerque Police Department, New Mexico State Prisons, and even the United States Marshals. And this was state-of-the-art methods, state-of-the-art equipment, and I passed both tests again. One thing that people tend to overlook is the polygraph evidence, to have this many people passing a polygraph test on a single issue, back at the time was judged, the odds against that would have been 1,000,000 to 1, in the words of the president of the American Polygraph Association.
The truth of why this happened to Walton will probably never be known, and one can only speculate as to what really goes on inside someone after such an occurrence. Walton's persistence to try and make sense of something so profound has given him a deeper understanding of humanity, an understanding we should all respect.
Having gone through this thing and trying to adjust to it, of course, it was a deep, emotionally troubling process, but it was forcing a kind of maturity on me, forced me to develop a lot of a more complete philosophy, a more broader outlook that I probably wouldn't have come to until I'd lived a lot more years. I think that this experience really has given me a great deal of insight about society, and people in general. I have come to realize that with the
Holy
burden
shit. Man, this thing's really picking up the thunder outside.
No, wow.
So after hearing that,
Cheaper, more.
I don't know. That guy sounded.
You sounded meh.
Yeah, this story wasn't adding up.
All right, so
But I mean, let's face it, okay? If you're gonna if you was abducted, you wouldn't be able to do any interviews because the government would keep you silent.
yeah, true. Or at least they would do something like threaten you and say, "Yeah, don't say anything, or we're gonna come after you. We're gonna come after your family," that kind of thing, you know.
No, they'll put you in jail or somewhere in a location where no one will know where you're at.
Yeah.
That's how it always happens.
So it's like you have the U.S. government who keeps it under wraps, and they try to keep this stuff secret from the public. Like, are you really trying to protect us from something? But then again,
I think it's the U.S. government, Mike, by stands because Russia's indicated it too. So
yeah, true.
And with everything that's been going on, now we have people launching rockets and satellites launched with missiles and all that. So, I mean, let's face it, it's a secret military base, Area 51. We all know that.
Yeah.
And even if there was any kind of UFO sighting or whatever, prove the proof.
Yeah, basically.
If you everybody's got cell phones now. Take lovely pictures of it. Take a lovely video of it, and just put it on Facebook and make it Facebook official.
Yep.
Gotta say.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna.
If you're really feeling frisky, then don't go feel a boob or something.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 500 people out there. I want to go screw an alien.
Let's see. Area 51 has become a focus of modern conspiracy theories. All right, here's a list of stuff with it. These are the theories that have been, I guess, let's say, put together over the years. The storage, examination, and reverse engineering of crashed alien spacecraft, including materials supposedly recovered at Roswell, the study of their occupants, and the manufacture of the aircraft based on alien technology, meetings or joint undertakings with extraterrestrials. Can you imagine our president going down into that bunker to have a meeting with these sons of bitches?
In case of war, yeah, I would say.
Like, what would you think he would say? Oh, take out that fucking bitch on TV that's bad mouthing me. Abduct her.
Bro.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, it could always come to it where Russia or the U.S. can use aliens for weapons of mass destruction or something. You know, you can say, hey, what was his name? Hey, Spock, can you take out Iraq for me?
Or it could be, or Area 51 could be like that movie called, what was it, where they bring people back from the dead. What was that one that had Goldberg in it? Universal Soldier. There you go.
Yeah, Van Damme, yeah. Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren, yeah. Let's see. The development of exotic energy weapons for the Strategic Defense Initiative or other weapons programs. So, yeah, look at it like this. Like, okay, look at all the weapons we have in this country and over in Russia. You know, we have the advancement of rockets, the advancement of missiles, and all this stuff. And it's like, do we really have the technology for this now? Like, you could send a fucking fly-sized camera over into Iraq and spy on Saddam's long-lost brother, you know? And then from a remote location, you could push a button and blow that fly up, and it takes out, like, 4 square blocks or something, you know? So it's like, there's no way we can create that kind of technology today. That's like with people who speculate and say that the moon landing never happened, and that happened 50 years ago. Hey, there's Shadow. He heard Russia. Yeah. Hop in the Discord, man. I know you're off from work. Hop in the Discord. We can chat about Area 51 and all, because Russia's involved. Discord is open, man. If you got it updated, that is. But yeah, with all these weapon advancements, like going back, like I said, you know, the moon landing, Apollo 11, that was 50 years ago. Yesterday, I think it was July 16th. You know, when we landed on the moon, people say that was staged, that was phony, it was faked. You know, because they're like, okay, did we really have the advancement? Did we have the technology back in 1969 to launch human beings into, you know, out of the world, you know, launch them into the sky, out there in the universe and all? Oh, you're leaving soon. You got to pack. Oh, that's right. You're packing for vacation. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, it's like back then. Did we really have the technology to be able to communicate with 3 human beings hundreds of thousands of miles away from our planet? That's like, look at the walkie-talkies and the radios we have nowadays. Like, if I want to speak with you, okay, we got cell towers that connect and communicate with each other in order for me to call you way down there where you're at. Or if I want to call somebody over in California, I'm all the way over here, you know, in Maryland. You know, you got cell towers that connect that continuous line. Now, I know we got satellites up there that we could communicate with. That's, you know, thousands of miles away. But let's say we send a man to Mars. Mars, oh God, it takes like 4 or 5 months to get there alone. How are we going to communicate with man if we really have no technological signal to really push, a signal wave out that far? You know, a satellite can probably only go so far. So, back then, like, how do we have any technology at all? I'm not saying they faked the moon landing. You know, there's all kind of theories of people trying to prove, the moon landing was fake. You know, we never landed on the moon. But, you know, you can listen to one side, you can listen to both sides. I'm like, okay, I believe we landed on the moon. We have the technology today, but back then, yeah, when you think about it, it's like, okay, if we did have the technology back then, like, where do we get it from? How do we make it? How do we make this technology to be that great? Yeah, there you go. Who said German engineering?
Yep, German engineering.
Just like they say, like with the whole Apollo program, they said there was women who worked on the program as well. I forgot what her name was. She worked on the software for the program. Like they said, like the women who worked on the project for the Apollo 11, and you know, they never really got the credit that was, you know, deserved in the end. And I forgot what her name was, but yeah, she made the software for us. So you had a lot of smart people back then. But then again, like I said, you know, with the technology they had back then, like, okay, here we are still technologically advancing, and let's say video games. Okay, back then, NASA was using software and hardware to send man to the moon, and then let's say 5-10 years from that, we're playing a video game. We're playing Atari, and it's 2 little fucking dots on the screen, basically.
Right.
Let's see. Since you brought it up, I heard that they were trying to build a road to the moon or an elevator or something. Let me see that. Let me look that up. Huh. Are they building... What was it? I done lost my track. Oh, okay. Build a elevator. Maybe aliens are coming to build it. Maybe that's why, you know. Okay, so here's what I'm reading here. This was back in 2012. Liftport plans to build space elevator on the moon by 2020. When the late Neil Armstrong and the crew of Apollo 11 went to the moon, they did so sitting atop of a rocket the size of a skyscraper that blasted out jets of smoke. Da 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 da. Ooh, that's a very Russian name right there. It's just Kwafwowski Tower. I don't know what the hell it is. It starts with a T. It's a weird name. Yep, it's okay. Russian space pioneer. Everything is Russian. Russia is helping us advance our technology.
So is Germany. Well, Germany back in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, you got all these other countries that are, making this, building this fucking technology for us. It's like, what the hell are we doing? Like, do we actually got UFO? Do we have unidentified craft in a bunker somewhere in Nevada? Like, we can use that shit, Like, give us a goddamn space gun from the Men in Black or something.
What's down in Antarctica that we have people down there for?
That's true, yeah. Antarctica, God. They said that's like the coldest place on Earth. Yeah, South Pole. I forgot how cold it was down there. I mean, you got polar bears and penguins and shit.
1,000 degrees.
Yeah. But then again, there was that movie, The Thing, that took place down in Antarctica. And they had something land down there in Antarctica. It was like an alien creature of some kind, and it would take over the human body. So yeah, I mean, yep, that too. Oh, this made the Wikipedia. Here we go. The Facebook event to storm Area 51. In July 2019, more than 1.3 million people responded to the joke proposal to storm Area 51, which appeared in an anonymous Facebook post. A further 1 million people said that they were interested in the event, scheduled for September 20th, and billed as Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop All of Us, in an attempt to see them aliens. Air Force spokeswoman Laura McAndrews said government officials know about the proposal. In a statement in the Washington Post, she said, Area 51 is an open training range for the U.S. Air Force, and we would discourage anyone from trying to come into the area where we train American armed soldiers. The U.S. Air Force always stays ready to protect America and its assets. The media reported the meme's creator had said it as a satirical and meant it as a joke. So, to sum it all up, guys, the whole thing was a joke. It was made as a meme, as a joke, and people took it seriously.
Well, let's see who's going to be real serious and go down there.
That's true.
And get shot. I'm really curious on that.
Would I date an alien if it was hot? If it was that triple nipple from Total Recall, I'll take her. Call her Trip Nip. What's up, Trip Nip? Sounds like some hood. Sounds like some fucking gangsta name. What's your hooker's name? Trip Nip. But yeah, that's all it is. It's a fucking satirical joke. And people took it seriously. Like, okay, the U.S. Air Force, they're ready to protect. Well, first of all, protect America. I'm like, well, first of all, we're destroying ourselves as a fucking country.
I'm wondering how many of them are the Tide Pod eaters.
They're gonna grab some fucking PCP and Tide Pods. They're gonna inject that shit. They're gonna go in there like fucking Superman. You can't stop me.
Wasp.
Oh, wasp spray. Oh, Christ. Maybe they'll fucking fly in there. I'll grow wings. Give me some Red Bull and wasp spray. Red Bull gives you wings, wasp spray. I believe I can fly.
Yeah, wasp spray gives me meth.
It gives you meth.
Well, they're using it for an ultimatum for meth.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, it's better than killing frogs.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if this will play. Let's see. Nope, that don't play.
Can you just take us to Washington?
Okay. That did play. Nope, that one won't play. Never mind. Beavis came out of nowhere. Take us to Washington. Oh, Christ. I mean... I don't know. I mean, maybe we can bring home Conehead. Yeah, let's bring home Baldar. Baldar Conehead. He has... Yeah, he has no ass crack. He has those two little knobs on his back. Tide Pods for all.
Yeah, just make sure they get a bucket of Tide Pods and sit out there for.
Yeah, I know. You know what? When I think about this whole thing, like, I don't know. This is what I think. I don't know what the hell that was.
He's like out having his butt cleaned. This is Butthead. Thank you.
Hey, baby.
When I hear about this shit, first when he gets shot.
Yeah, because you're trying to protect America. Like, you're not protecting America when you're shooting down a million fucking... Yeah, for some reason it was playing Black Hole Sun.
Thank you. Settle down, Beavis. He's taking a shower because he stinks. This is the... Could you, like, shut up and give us the money?
Yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
Give you some money?
Yeah, well, if they go down there and storm Area 51, why don't they just go to Fort Knox and try to...
Yeah, we'll go to Fort Knox, rob them of what they got, use that money to spend on plane tickets, and fly down to Nevada.
Yeah, hey, they won't even breach at Fort Knox. I mean, my God, see how dumb they wrote up.
Yeah. Holy shit, 862 frames drop? God damn. The fuck you doing, OBS? Oh man, I know, I already done said, I was like, you know what? And now you feel like you're watching Mars Attacks, yeah, with Beavis and Butthead. I already done said, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna partake in the Area 51 storming unless Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith reprise their roles and go down with me.
I'm just gonna sit back and smoke cigarettes, drink beer, and watch all y'all be done.
Yep. And if y'all hear Empire breaking out like he's a robot, that's them getting ready to abduct him. So they're interfering with his internet signal. It's like da 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 da.
I'm about to go see some.
You're about to go see some what?
Alien titties.
I love how that thing was just stuttering. Alien titties.
Yeah, you just a tiny bit yourself for a second.
So, going back to Travis Walton, I'm surprised you never heard of that movie, Fire in the Sky. I know, because Ron was telling me about that movie a while back, and then I heard somebody else talk about it online. Man, your internet is really fucking you up, man. You sound like Rob the Robot getting blown.
Oh, you maybe I am. That's.
Huh?
I was on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, yeah, because you're like. Rod said you were getting abducted and probed.
So that was Mike, but he just admits to that.
So let's see. Yeah, this movie Fire in the Sky. Like I said before, it's based off the abduction, the true story of the abduction Yeah, it was me and Bane. I remember that. Okay. Yeah. So he was abducted by aliens. That's how his story went. Now the movie Fire in the Sky. It was. I think it was a PG or PG-13 rated movie. I think. Let me see.
I wonder if that's where Ozzy came up with that song, Fire in the Sky.
I don't know. Fire in the Sky came out. It came out in 1993. I think it was. I believe it was PG or PG. It was. They said it was like. Think of it as like a the X-Files in a way, but a little bit more. I don't want to say lighter tone or whatever. Let's see. Yeah, Travis Walton UFO incident. Let's see. Was the alleged abduction of American forestry worker by UFO November 5th, 1975, while he was working in the Apache Siltgreaves National Forest near Snow Lake, Arizona. Walton reappeared after a 5-day search. The Walton case received mainstream publicity and remains one of the best-known alien abduction stories. Skeptics consider it a hoax. Walton wrote a book about it and purported abduction in 1978 called The Walton Experience. According to Walton, on November 5th, 1975, he was working in a timber stand improvement crew in the Apache National Forest near Snow Lake, Arizona. While he was riding in a truck with 6 of his co-workers, they encountered a saucer-shaped object hovering over the ground approximately 110 feet away, making a high-pitched buzz. Walton claimed that after he had left the truck and approached the object, a beam of light suddenly appeared from the craft and knocked him unconscious. The other 6 men were frightened and supposedly drove away. Walton claimed that he awoke in a hospital-like room being observed by 3 short, bald creatures. He claimed that he fought with them until a human wearing a helmet led Walton to another room, where he blacked out as 3 other humans put a clear plastic mask over his face. Walton claimed he remembers nothing until he found himself walking along a highway with the flying saucer departing. Oh, after you hear that, what do you think about that when you hear about that?
Interesting.
Yeah. Then you got UFOologists. In the days following his claim, the National Enquirer awarded him and his co-workers $5,000 prize for the best UFO case of the year after they allegedly passed polygraph tests administered by the Enquirer and the Aerial Phenomenon Research Organization. Walton, his oldest brother, and his mother were described by the Navajo County, Arizona Sheriff as longtime students of UFOs. Some UFOologists believe Walton was abducted by aliens. And then, of course, you got the skeptical reception. Skeptics consider this case to be a hoax, describing it as a sensationalization. Was it? Yeah, sensationalization. That is a word, okay. On the part of the media and a put-up job to make money. UFO researcher Philip J. Klass considered Walton's story to be a hoax perpetuated for financial gain and discovered many discrepancies in the account of Walton and his co-workers. After investigating the case, Klass reported the polygraph tests were poorly administered, that Walton used polygraph countermeasures such as holding his breath and uncovered an earlier failed test. Look, if you're gonna fucking try to pass, there's some people say there's ways of cheating a polygraph test. Some people say there's ways of cheating it. I don't believe that. I mean, the way...
Yeah, there's ways. There is ways. But, I mean, it's very, very slim if you do.
Well, it is now. Like, the technology with a polygraph, like, the more advanced that, you know, the hardware and software with that is, you know, the more further down the line, you know, you come. it's a little bit more advanced. So they're trying to make to where you can't beat the system. Basically, this is what I'm saying. You know, like back
There's
then.
always a way to beat the system. Don't let them fool you with that.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so yeah, the movie Fire in the Sky decided Walton's account was too fuzzy and too similar to other televised close encounters, so they ordered screenwriter Tracy Torme to write a flashier, more provocative abduction story. So when you watch the movie Fire in the Sky, it's not as... Well, it's not really graphic, but let's just say it's not as intense as what Walton had exclaimed. Now, there is a part in the movie where the abduction happens, and people growing up watching this movie, they said that is the most terrifying thing that they have ever watched in a movie. This is it's not even a horror movie. It's a biopic science fiction mystery movie. It's a sci-fi movie. And they say this one part is like the most terrifying thing you can see in a movie, especially when it comes to alien abductions. And I've watched it, and I'm like, yeah, this is probably what you can expect out of any kind of, extraterrestrial being. If they came down and wanted to experiment on us, do certain experiments. There was even another movie I've seen. It had
Independence Day was the perfect example of it all.
Well, Independence Day mixed just a little bit of fact with a lot of fiction. Like, we really don't know what aliens exist out there, what they look like. Okay, you may have your little green, bald-headed men with the big eyes. You may have the monsters you see in Independence Day. Or you may have xenomorphs, from the movie Aliens. Alien beings... I mean, they could be creatures from another world. We could see other beings that almost resemble human that can communicate with us. There's different types of languages. There's different types of races out there. So, I mean...
There's plenty of them. You just got, your green card.
Damn. The green card coming to Earth.
Or ocean.
I'm going to play a little bit of this interview. I'm not going to play the entire interview. I'm going to just play a little bit of it. This was on the Hannibal TV. It's a channel on YouTube. And the video is UFO Abductee Travis Walton Extended Interview 2019. So this is very recently. This was posted or published May 18th. Okay, so he did this interview this year. Let's see what's going on here.
Interview, you're going to find out just why he is the most credible. He is Mr. Travis Walton, and we're doing this interview just outside his hometown of Snowflake, Arizona.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. To start this off, just to get a bit of history on you, what was your childhood like growing up around here?
Well, I spent the first, probably up till about the 5th grade in Phoenix. And then we moved up here. As far as Payson at first, and then on up into this area.
What sports did you play growing up?
All right, I want to hear about his sports. I want to get
accidents.
So you were always someone that kind of was a bit of an adrenaline junkie, I guess you would say.
Back then.
Did you have any interest in science fiction?
I want to see where he gets into that spot.
When you were growing up?
Not particularly. I thought astronomy was...
YouTube's starting to act up on me.
5 for some reason for the movie, but it was...
All right, I think this is it.
Ship Lake with the other crew members.
Well, it kind of varied a little bit. We weren't a group of buddies, We were portrayed as a bunch of co-conspirators making up a story, but we really didn't get along that well and didn't hang around together after work. And I think one relationship in particular with Alan Dallas probably contributed to his trouble when they came to accuse him of murdering me. The line of questioning was, did you
Yeah,
ever
you did hear
have
that,
any
right?
desire to harm Travis? And he and I had gotten in a fight a few days before. He had gone out to see this girlfriend of mine, and he was trying to lure her away and
Murder
tell her
Behind the Scenes or some shit.
That's what it
that he
seems
was
like.
the better man. And
I don't know if I went
so
back
we got
too
in a fight over
far.
that,
I don't know
and,
what. I don't know
he
if this is
lost the fight,
before.
but, I could tell he still had lingering aggression because almost dropping that tree on me, you know.
Somebody
And I
needs to get
understand
laid.
from your book that the movie Fire in the Sky that was done based on this story was incorrect as far as the number of the men on the crew that day.
That's true. There were actually 7 of us out there, and they reduced it to 5 for some reason for the movie. But
7 of you, and then
it
reduced
was
to 5. It's
certainly
down to
not an
3.
embellishment, you know.
Dude and his
I was
girl.
gonna say, because I've read 6. It said like, well, not unless it was just said his 6 friends and including himself. So okay, yeah, there were 7 of them out there, and in the movie, I guess they decided to have 5 out there in the field.
Yeah,
Like I
so his story ain't even adding up, man. He's talking about some kind of murder. He was alive, kind of murder and shit.
Well, apparently
trying to
it must have been something that that happened, you know, before the events of the of what happened. That's probably what he was getting into.
Sounds like somebody went to the bar, had a couple brewskis,
Yeah,
saw something in the sky.
pretty much. Hey, he probably saw some goddamn helicopter come pick him up or something.
Probably.
And you mentioned you had a girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
Is that the woman that was portrayed in the film? That you
Yeah,
were doing?
I married her and had 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Okay. And it did show you
Oh,
have
so
the
he goes
little
around flexes
altercation in
everybody's
the
girl and
woods
gets
in
4
the film.
kids
Did
out of
that
it.
fight actually occur in the woods, or was that...
It actually happened behind Mike's house before we left for work. But then, you know, him dropping that tree on me, that was something that...
You fucked my woman and I dropped a tree on you.
That's right. Newton's law, not an apple, a tree.
Yep. The apple didn't fall far from that one.
did.
And that whole
Oh,
tree
that
fell
really
off.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that really did happen.
And so, yeah, that's obviously something that's uncalled for in that profession.
Well, of course, you're supposed
Anybody
to
in the
make sure...
chat that believes this guy is on meth, smoking too much West Monster spray.
You don't do that.
So I'll stop you a few times probably for questions during this, but could you go through the events of that day, kind of starting from when you got up in the morning to go to work?
Well, you know, we just got up and went to work, and you know, it's a pretty long drive to work, so we might fall back asleep on the way to work.
Him and E.T.
But when we get there, it's time to get up and get going, and so as soon as we arrive, we're ready to go.
He was ready to go, so he saw something in the air, and all of a sudden he's ready to go. I'm taking it.
The various jobs are kind of decided by the boss.
Right.
You know,
Before I continue this, I do see Cypher in here. What's going on, Cypher? I know you're in here listening, man. If you want to join in, Discord's open, man. If you want to come in and talk about some aliens and shit.
If you want to talk about this guy, it's more entertaining.
who's cutting, who's piling, who's doing what, you know. But it's
can't drive.
pretty intense work, and
Yeah.
we just got right to it.
And I heard you say too that
Yeah.
it's often been told that you guys were tired at the time that you first saw the craft, but I guess you had just finished cutting, which is a very physical work, so you're
Yeah, we were wide awake. We were really, you know, pumped because of the recent hard physical labor. You know, in the movie it made it look like we were drowsy or something, but we hadn't been driving very long. We were wide awake.
So at the point where you first saw the craft, you were heading home from the day, right?
Right.
So how did it appear in the sky? What was the first thing that you saw?
Well, it was just a glow at first. It wasn't like, oh my God, what's that? You know, it was like, I wonder what that is, you know. It's a light, you know, maybe some hunters camped over there. And the closer we got, the more, it can't be a campsite because it's coming from higher than where the crest of the ridge. You can estimate, even though you can't see it, the trees are too thick, you can see that the slope of the ground is, the light's from higher than where the ground level would be. So that wasn't adding up. I wonder what that could be, you know. And one by one, the other crew members were, you know, noticing and trying to figure out what it was. But it wasn't anything real exciting at first. It was just a curiosity.
Was it moving or just kind of?
It was just a glow in the trees, and but it had a strange quality to it. And it wasn't the moon. The moon was in a different direction. The sun had already gone down. The idea, you know, of a fire in the sky came from the fact that we actually had, you know, found trees that had been hit by lightning on the way to work. We stopped, put the fire out, you know. So that was one thing that crossed our mind is, could this have been where lightning hit the tree up high and caught it on fire? That particular part of the rim country right there has the second highest frequency of lightning strikes of any place in the continental United States.
And fires are pretty serious out here with all the dry weather and the wood.
And we're on the front row when it comes to putting them out, you know.
I'm gonna stop there for a second. Now, he's talking about all the, you know, this bright light out there, like in the middle of the woods. Like, I don't know. Sometimes light travels in a particular fashion, like with moonlight. Like moonlight, depending on how bright it is, how much sunlight it's actually reflecting back onto the earth, or I don't know, depending on where they're at. Like they said they were in a forest somewhere. Like, could there be like some kind of spotlight out there that may have been shining down on them? I mean, there's I mean, I'm not saying he's lying about it, but you know, there's got to be all kind of different explanations for that kind of thing. You know, like what kind of light did you see? Did you see the moonlight? Were you near a road where you saw this spotlight? Did somebody have a bright spotlight out there? You know?
There was that helicopter that.
Yeah, it could have been that. Just like, you know, helicopters, like, yeah, they're loud. He didn't say anything about a loud sound so far. He just saw a light. But then when you get up close, I mean, even if you're hearing, I don't know if we're going to get to that in a second, like if you hear a loud noise, you know, something flying away, you know, helicopter, like I've never been up close to a helicopter. I've heard helicopters fly over, like, my house. I've heard them fly over, you know, the place. You know, you hear helicopters fly over. You know what they sound like. They're pretty fucking loud, but I don't know what it sounds like up close.
If there's a fire, they'll come and get us, and because we have the equipment, the experience, we're ready to move, and on short notice we can get over there and get a fire put out.
So you came closer, and as you approached, you could see this was actually some type of a craft with bright lights on it, I assume?
Yeah.
What colors were the lights?
Well, it was just it was a glow. The whole surface was glowing. It was broken up with darker areas, kind of a metallic, but it just kind of lit up the whole area and made everything look kind of real weird. It's kind of a very odd kind of a light.
And how big would you?
Yeah, what was you gonna say about that?
That guy can't even get his story straight.
Oh, the way he's looking on the interview, I don't know if he's looking at the people who he's talking to. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he could be reading off a teleprompter. Who knows? I don't know anymore. Come on.
Well, let's be realistic. This guy's
Say
obviously
the craft itself was.
Well, he's probably 40 feet or less.
Okay. So I
40
guess
feet or less.
at some point, one of the members.
That's still
of
pretty
the group
close,
said
though.
that was a flying saucer.
Yeah, just
Like, if I look at my house, if I stand out in my backyard, like, the length of my house is like 40, I want to say 45 feet, maybe. So that's pretty relatively close, though. Like, whatever it was, I'm like, you're standing too damn close to that thing. I would say, like, stand like a fucking block away from there, like fucking 200, 300 feet.
as soon as we had a clear view of it, the guy in the back yells out, "It's a flying saucer or UFO," something like that. But I was already throwing open.
Okay, so who's gonna scream out, "It's a flying saucer"?
some idiot that's drunk.
What is it? Hey, yeah, it's a flying saucer. You don't know, that could be an airplane.
Or jumping out, thinking it was going to take off.
It's an
before I got
aeroplane.
going very far, but it didn't. It didn't take off.
I guess you had an adrenaline rush seeing this thing.
Yeah, and you know, so they immediately started saying, "Get back in here," you know, telling me get away from there. But at that point, I didn't want to show that I was scared. So I kept going. But the more anxious they got, the slower I went. Till I got where, when I was looking up at about a 45-degree angle at it, it suddenly got louder. It started to move. And it was just kind of a reflex. Instead of just running at that point, I just ducked down behind a log there. And then they were really screaming at me to get back in the truck. And so I decided to run back to the truck. But when I stood up, I just felt this numbing shock go through my body. It was quite a bit like I touched high voltage or something. But they said it just picked me up and threw me like 15, 20 feet. And John said it was like a sack of meat hit the ground, like there wasn't a bone.
So far, something picked him up and just flung him.
Yeah. I can tell you exactly what it was. It was his buddy.
He said, "Get the fuck back in the truck."
Exactly.
In my body. And Steve yelled out, "It got him," which in his vocabulary means it killed him, you know. And so Mike said that the crew started screaming at him to get the truck moving, to take off. And so he just did, you know, just revved up the motor and took off, he said, and went blasting down through the woods, driving way too fast for how rough the woods were. But it was that particular decision to take off at that point got those guys a lot of criticism. You know, people said, "Oh, gee, your coworkers weren't showing enough courage. They all they cared about was saving themselves, and they're just gonna leave you to your fate." But I don't see anything wrong with what they did, because they thought he'd killed me. And it really didn't make any sense to them to get anybody else killed to save a dead man, you know. So they took off. That impulse was probably the smartest thing to do. They said they went up, they spotted some deer hunters, and they went and tried to catch them. When they couldn't catch them, Mike said he pulled over and he said, "Look, we got to go back." And some of the guys said, "No, let's just go get help." And then Mike said, "Well, look, if anybody doesn't want to go back, they can just wait here, and we'll pick you up on our way back." But nobody volunteered to get out of the truck and wait outside the truck in the dark. So they all went back together. Now in the movie,
the hit was different too, right? When you were zapped, they didn't show that very well in the movie.
Right, it was a single blast that just literally threw me through the air. And in the movie, they were afraid somebody would be reaching for their popcorn or something and
Oh yeah.
And this is really interesting, Mike.
Yeah, it is. See, now I gotta find the movie and watch that too. Yeah, let's listen more of what he's going on here. This is very intriguing.
The interesting thing I'm getting from all these.
What's that?
All his buddies all the buddies had the beer in the truck.
Yeah.
And they said, "Fuck that guy, he's insane."
Yeah. I mean, at least they were not kind enough to stop somewhere and say, "Yeah, let's go back and get him," you know?
Let's go back and pick his drunk ass up.
Yeah, because you figure, like, at that point in time, you don't know what's going on. You see something like that, like a fucking cannon blasting you, blasting your buddy, all you can think is, holy shit, I'm next. So you decide to drive away.
If he got blasted by a can, he would have been vaporized.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it was
obviously this guy is science fiction.
Maybe it was a Romulan ship coming down. He pissed him off or something. Maybe he threw a book at him. I don't know.
I think after having sex with his buddy's wife or girlfriend or whatever, buddies just all threw him 20 feet in the air and dropped down.
Yeah, just put something big out there. Put a big old weather balloon out there with a big old light out there to scare the fuck out of him.
Exactly, or one of them little fucking gadgets they can get at Walmart for $20 and fly above his head.
Yeah, the fucking wireless shit.
Because it was just a single blast, and that was just the way it was, So they dragged it out. The light came on, held the actor there and then finally tossed him back. But it was just much more abrupt than that. So when they headed back, they saw the craft taking off towards the northeast. And so Kenny said he wasn't so scared that it would come back as what my body was going to look like. Was going to be all charred, burned up, horribly blistered or burned holes in it or something like that. And so in the movie, it seemed like they couldn't find the spot. They weren't sure where it was. But when Mike took off, he revved up the motor and popped the clutch and spun out. And so there was clear tracks of where the truck had been when we took off. So they really did know right where it was.
I see. And I guess from the time you were zapped, you were pretty much unconscious.
I was unconscious, yeah.
So you don't even really remember feeling the pain other than...
when I regained consciousness, I felt a lot of pain.
And what happened when you regained consciousness?
Well, I was in and out for a while. Every time I'd start to wake up, the pain would knock me out. But I finally...
That's called medicine, buddy, at the hospital.
I see this light above me. And I could hear the sounds of movement around me. And what with all this pain, something really terribly wrong inside. I thought maybe I'd been injured and that the crew had taken me to a hospital. So I thought the
that's the only
sounds
thing
of
make
movement
common
around
sense
me were doctors.
Yeah.
And I couldn't focus my eyes. It actually kind of looked like doctors at first. And when I could finally focus my eyes, I could see it was these creatures. And I just flipped out. I just started screaming. I rolled away from them. I don't know how. I felt like I could hardly move, but
There was no membrane around you either.
no
like in the
membrane,
movie.
nothing
That was
holding me
made up.
down. Just my physical weakness, like I just couldn't move.
What about a tool? In the movie, it shows a giant metallic type of tool.
I did grab an object off of the table there and swung at them. I didn't actually hit them. They weren't close enough to hit.
What did they look like?
They were hairless, small, huge eyes, and they just kept staring at me.
Did they look at all like the beings? I don't know if you've seen these wooden beings that.
No, these local carvings are painted green, and they certainly weren't green. They were kind of a grayish white.
So he's talking about like the typical vision that we have of aliens. Was that?
I was gonna say hooligan lights.
Yeah. So basically, I just saw a picture of what he was of what they were sharing. He was standing next to this giant statue of his. Because when we hear about aliens, like when we see them in TV shows and certain movies and cartoons, we think of them as like these little green bald-headed men with they look like they're fucking born with water in their brain or something like that. You know, they gigantic heads and shit, and they got these big black eyes, that kind of thing. And that's usually how we depict aliens growing up over the past, 50, 60, 70 years. That's how we depict them, and that's how he's describing them, but they're not green. They're more of like a grayish, whitish kind of color, which, of course, is... You ever seen the movie Signs with Mel Gibson?
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, there's a scene in that movie where they play this clip from this birthday party where it was a Hispanic family. You know, they were having a birthday party for their kids, and everybody gathered in the house. Everybody was freaking out because they said there was some kind of alien or something outside. And then they take a glance down the driveway, and there's this gray-looking alien, which is almost like depiction of this, but from what Travis is saying, they're short. They're short and hairless. So it's like, if you look at the movie Signs, they're like 6 foot tall. You know, these motherfuckers are tall as shit. You know, long legs and all. They're like human. They're like me and you type tall. You know, like there's like 6 foot. I don't want to say 7 foot, but in his depiction, they're like pretty short. So who knows? They could have been like children. They could have been like kids or something, kitty aliens, or who knows? You know, but. That's how it's always depicted.
Drugs.
I wonder what they were experimenting with back in the 70s. We all know.
CP, they were doing all that.
Oh, yeah.
All that. 7.
Oh, man.
But
were they that? How tall were they? About?
They were only like 3 or 4 feet.
Yeah.
Tall.
Okay.
Okay,
And
so they were about 3 or 4 feet tall. That's fucking small as shit.
What were they, chihuahuas?
Maybe they're Great Danes in disguise. I don't know. To the Great Dane, that's a chew toy right there. I'm like 3 foot tall. Like I'm from where I'm sitting at right now. I can look one straight in the fucking eyes. 3 or 4 foot tall. Well, maybe looking down just a little bit more. That's like a goddamn 5-year-old right there. I'm like, it's a 5-year-old in a costume. That's all that is.
Right?
Clothes.
Yes. Yeah, they were wearing orangish brown coveralls.
And when...
Hold on. So, you got these 3 or 4 foot tall aliens wearing prison clothes.
Yeah, this guy's really on.
I never heard of an alien wearing overalls or coveralls or whatever the hell you said they were wearing. But then again, there's an episode of Married with Children where Al ends up he ends up hitting his head or something. I forgot what it was, and he starts seeing these little aliens come, in his bedroom and shit, and they're wanting his socks and all. And they're like little light green. They're like kind of like a mint, not mint green, but they're like greenish aliens. They're about the same size, and then of course they're wearing like these silver. It's almost like silver or grayish kind of costumes or whatever and shit. I wonder if they came and got his socks too.
Probably.
You
probably got his foot odor too.
Got off the table. Did they kind of scurry away, or what was
Yeah, that made them stop to where they, and then I was planning on fighting my way past them because the only door was on the other side of them. But they just suddenly turned and.
How big was this room that you were in?
It was pretty claustrophobic. It was pretty small. It was just a little. Circular. It was really cramped. And adding to that effect was the fact that I couldn't get enough air to breathe. Felt like I was continually starving for air.
You were on a table. Was the table attached to the floor?
Yes, it was just a single leg in the middle, holding it up, and nothing fancy, just.
I talked to one guy that said he was abducted, and he said it seemed like everything in the room was molded out of the same material. Was that similar in your story?
Yeah. The table and the floor were kind of just one material, and everything was all like one material.
So you say the
question is, what type of material?
Mm-hmm.
And then what was your reaction from there?
Well, I was afraid they'd come back. They had gone to the right, so I went to the left. And I was just blindly trying to find a way out. I just thought, if I can open a door, I can drop to the ground, I'll be back in the woods. That probably wasn't the case, but that's what I was thinking in my panic, That
you think it's still hovering over the same area?
Yeah.
Dude,
so what about in the movie it shows you anti-gravity floating?
Nope. No anti-gravity.
That was something that the Hollywood people just
that was just Hollywood embellishment.
So you turn to the left after you see the beings turn to the right. What happens after that?
Well, I was trying to find a way out, so I saw a chair and some buttons, and I thought maybe some of these could open some of those doors, but they didn't. And just trying to find a way to get some of these doors to open. And then a man came in. And he looked to be a human being to me. At the time, I took him to be a human. It was there to rescue me from these monsters,
How was the human dressed, or the human-like being?
Just blue coveralls.
Facial features of a man.
Yeah, the facial features of a man, and
hair.
Yeah, kind of longish hair. Not no insignia, no like rank or military indicators.
I see. And what happened from there?
Well, I was looking for a way out, so when he wanted me to go with him, and assuming that he was there to rescue me, I went with him. Okay. He took me out through this little passage I take to be an airlock. The quality of the air was much different on the outside. Much easier to breathe and much cooler. But he was really in a hurry, moving me pretty quickly.
So the air was thinner, I guess, in the first section you were in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that feeling of suffocation, which just fed that panic feeling.
So do you think the second room was part of the original craft as well, or do you think this craft kind of went into a larger ship?
I think it probably went into either a larger ship or a building.
Okay. So you go
Can't even
into
keep a
this
story
second compartment, and what happens from there?
Well, he was hurrying me along, and so I had to pay pretty close attention just to keep from stumbling. I was still pretty weak.
He's not talking to you, right?
No, and I kept continually questioning him, but at first I wasn't too alarmed. Or maybe he's just in a hurry to get me somewhere. Took me.
Was there anything covering his head or anything?
Yeah, there was a helmet over his head, and made me think. Well, either the air in there wasn't
Hold on. Okay, so didn't he say a few minutes ago?
This guy now changed the story that he has a helmet on his head.
I was saying, like, how does he go from he looked like he had long hair and facial features, and now he's wearing a helmet all of a sudden? That didn't make any sense at all.
Or it had something to do with how combative I was, that maybe it was just for protection. But for whatever reason, he was wearing a helmet and nobody else was.
What was his outfit like compared to the other beings? It just looked like a spacesuit, or?
Yeah, just a blue coverall.
Okay. Blue coverall, and the helmet is like a clear helmet.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Wolf?
Fogged up or frosted on the backside.
Circular.
Yeah, just.
What the hell?
So he's telling you.
Okay, my computer was just acting up there for a second. I was like, hey, what's up, Wolf? Wolf's in the chat. So I'm playing a part of an interview conducted by. Well, it's an extended interview. I don't know who the interviewer is, but this is Travis Walton. CNN's what the hell's his name? That fucking guy looks like. Yeah, it's Kevin Costner.
No, Jim Acosta.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we're watching. Well, so you guys are listening to the interview of Travis Walton. Who was
wrong, that his story.
Yeah, it's just a couple things that doesn't add up to it, but yeah, he was abducted back in 1970s. He was he's basically the guy the movie Fire in the Sky is loosely based off when he was abducted by aliens. So far from
he was abducted by aliens.
Yeah. So far, they were out in the woods doing something. Saw like
PCP, drinking a couple beers. One guy fucked a girl 4 times. Got her knocked up 4 times, and all of a sudden you end up in a hospital defensive.
Wolf said, I've been watching all about aliens in Area 51. Yeah, so before I continue the interview, Wolf, I want to say, and I've read it earlier, that the whole Area 51 thing on Facebook, it was all meant as a satirical joke. That's all it was. It was meant as a joke, and people are taking this shit seriously. So I don't know why people are signing. So they're gonna, if anybody storms Area 51 come September 20th, yeah, they're all gonna be shot. Well, I see maybe some of them shot, maybe a lot of them arrested and charged with trespassing on government property with the intent of something, who knows. So there's going to be a lot of arrests that day. They better have a lot of fucking handcuffs and shit, or zip ties. So let's go ahead and continue. So he was abducted. It's basically nothing like the movie Fire in the Sky, but he was abducted. He saw 3 to 4 foot tall aliens that were like a white or grayish in color, wearing orange overalls or coveralls or whatever the fuck they were. They're basically wearing fucking prison uniforms. and then he gets led out by somebody who looks like a human, wearing blue overalls, has facial features, has hair, long hair, mind you, he said, and then moments later he goes and says, oh, he was wearing a helmet, so I couldn't see his face. So, how
maybe he trespassed Area 51 and got knocked.
Yeah. So, apparently where he was at in the spaceship, he said the room was very claustrophobic. It was very closed in, the air was kind of thin. I can understand that. If you're very claustrophobic and you're in a small room, yeah, you're really gonna tighten up, with air and all. Or they may disappear out of nowhere. Yeah, that's true too. Anybody goes storming Area 51, they may disappear. So they better say goodbye to their families while they can. They ain't getting abducted by aliens, they'll be abducted by something else.
Federal government agent.
Yeah, they're gonna be locked in the basement of NSA with the aliens. my dad, he's retired 30 plus years NSA, and he's always joked about the aliens in the basement and shit. He said, yeah, they because NSA is so secretive with a lot of stuff. It's a government agency, they I don't want to say they police the world or whatever. They're the ones that people say, oh, they tap into your phones and your cameras and microphones and shit and listen to everything you're talking about. So I'm like, well, we're sitting here talking about Area 51 and Travis Walton, so I'm guessing you ain't going to hear from me tomorrow. Cypher, I know you're in here. If I disappear tomorrow, you can have my shit. It's already set up.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go ahead. If this will let me click the video
He's
now.
hurrying you along, and then what's going on?
Well, he takes me into this room, and there's some other people like him. And I was assuming that maybe he's not answering my questions because he's got the helmet on. Maybe he can't hear me. Maybe he can't talk with that thing on. So when he left me with these other people who were dressed like him, except for the helmet.
What'd they do, rape you?
I started over and started asking all of them the questions. And they were not answering either. And they started...
Okay, so... From what I can gather, he took him into another room with a bunch of other figures. This, it's getting ready to sound like a fucking porno. At this point.
At this point, it looks like he's being questioned by Secret Service and the United States military.
That, or he's been invited to the Ramrod.
And that too.
He's at the Blue Oyster. He's standing there surrounded by some...
This guy's gonna have me drinking beer here in about 30 minutes if we keep listening to more of his shit.
Trying to get me to lay down on this table. And I found that kind of alarming. I started to resist.
Lay down, bend over.
In hindsight, it was probably...
That's right.
Yeah.
That I woke up in the middle of some sort of medical recovery. And because I was combative...
Oh my God.
They needed help from somebody that I wouldn't fight.
Dude, just shut the fuck up.
And
I also heard you say you think that they actually were treating you in retrospect for the injury that you had from the blast.
And they were actually in a hurry to complete this. And because I was fighting these little creatures that they couldn't handle me.
Oh God!
Shit, no! Turn this fucking interview off. This guy's retarded as hell.
They took me into a gay bar where they laid me on the counter and had their way with me.
I just pictured this whole shit without even him speaking the next fucking word. I can't even take it
anymore. So these human-looking people forced me down on the table. And
there's a female too, right?
Yeah, and the female.
Oh God, there was a female. Oh, ad's playing now.
Oh, boo.
So there were several people there. There was even a female. Like, who the fuck was the female?
They're giving him that finger off the butt maneuver. That's what that was.
Yep.
Administered anesthesia, and
what did the female look like?
She was quite attractive. They were similar in a family sort of way.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere.
White color hair, all the same hair? Or?
Yeah, Not a real pale blonde, just sort of a sandy blonde color.
Do you think they could have possibly been other beings of a different race?
Yeah, I think they could be. Perhaps selected just because their resemblance to
Captain
humans
Kirk
would make me trust them. Some people think, well, maybe they just whipped up some kind of a android or something to
oh, Data was there?
inspire my.
I know, right? This guy's on some shit. I'm telling you, I wish I had his education.
Yeah, it almost sounds like we're getting some Star Trek shit now.
This
Sounds like
guy
a
don't know what the hell he's talking about. This guy's story's changed now 3 times.
X-Files mixed with Star Trek.
Cooperation.
Right, because we've heard, and I'm sure you've heard, that there's lots of theories that there's different species of extraterrestrials, and like the ones you've described from the first craft seem to have been possibly grays that were possibly operating.
Yeah, they didn't have that term back then, but I think that fits in with what people describe.
And then
but
it seems
there are people who say, oh, aliens would never have 2 arms and 2 legs. They would look like a giant cockroach or a big octopus or something.
I'm sure they would.
No. A tool-using creature is going to have these 2 hands in front to manipulate matter and make things.
I mean, apes have 2 arms and 2 legs. Did you get a vision of how many fingers they may have had?
I got the impression of normal digits.
Okay.
I was going to say, don't tell me they got 3 fingers.
The human-like creatures. Did anyone ever say that they could have been like the Nordics? Because we've heard of these.
Yeah,
Nordic
I've heard that
beings.
term. Yeah.
Okay, so they administered anesthesia to you, and this was from. It looked something like a normal anesthesia
Just a
mask.
normal gas mask.
But it didn't have anything attached to it.
No hoses. It had a sort of a canister or a sphere hooked to it.
Now, when they're holding you down, are they looking angry or?
They didn't look angry. They looked impatient. I was, and whenever I would scream, I could see that they would kind of wince.
Curtis Bay Witchcraft.
How was the strength of the women?
They were strong enough to hold me down.
How tall would you say those other 2 beings were?
They were as tall as I was.
Okay,
good size.
I was going to say, don't say they're like 8 foot tall.
I guess, is waking up from that anesthesia.
Yeah. And I could feel the cold air coming into my clothes. And there was a light above me, and I looked to see where the light was coming from, but it went off just as I looked. But I could still see this shiny hull there hovering above the highway before it went up.
What's your state of mind at this point? Is it relief?
Oh, it was definitely relief. Even in spite of the fact that it was dark and nighttime, I could still recognize this stretch of road, and I felt like I was free. The woods were a familiar environment to me, and I just ran down into the town.
How far is that from here, approximately, where you were dropped off?
Oh, that was probably about 6 miles up the road here.
You know where you are, and you know that there's phone booths close by.
Actually, it was a gas station at the time.
Okay.
It was an Exxon station.
And now it's not, right?
And now it's not. Now it's a
confusion.
restaurant, Casa Ramos Mexican restaurant. But you can tell it used to be a service station way back in the...
Oh, we passed that Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And, you see the phone booths there with the statues, and those are the very phone booths that I called from that night.
Very interesting. How is the food there?
Okay, we're not interested in Mexican food. We all know how that tastes.
Yeah.
So, he got dropped off, and no harm was done. Well, I don't know if there's any scars or whatever. Maybe he gets into that. I don't know. Let me see if I can skip ahead.
He got scarred, all right.
The debunkers were trying to say that I never called from any phone booth. But, it definitely did call from that phone booth. The sheriff sent officers over there to dust for prints that night.
Yes, and we haven't gotten into this at all yet, but you want to fill us in for people that don't know the story of everything that was going on with the other workers, because the police obviously didn't believe the UFO story at first, and there was an actual murder investigation going on because they believe you were actually killed.
Yeah, and they thought that I'd probably just got in a fight, and they'd hidden the body and decided to cover it up. And especially one of the first guys being tested was Alan Dallas, and he didn't like this line of questioning. Have you ever wanted to harm Travis? Which was true. We'd gotten in a fight, and that's harming somebody. And so he pulls everything off and stomps out and doesn't take his test. But he did come back to the same examiner and take a full test later and pass it with flying colors.
And before that occurred, there was actually a search for you, right? There was actually a formal police search for you.
Yeah, they had over 50 men on horseback, on foot.
On horseback?
These little three-wheelers, they were combing the entire area. They also had helicopters and airplanes crisscrossing the area.
And then after that, that's when I guess they figured these guys were suspect, and they offered them the opportunity to take a polygraph test while you were still missing.
Yeah.
Right. And they all passed for the UFO. The only one that didn't pass, but it was for his whole story in general because it was unusable, was for the person that had an issue with you, as you said, because he had some hatred for you, which showed on the thing. So they thought he may have killed you for that reason, I guess.
Yeah.
I see. And they did. So what was their reaction before you came back? What was going on?
Well, one of my brothers believed the crew, and one of them didn't, and he confronted them kind of violently. And said, "If you did anything to my brother, I'm really gonna." He was threatening them. But
what about your mother?
She believed the crew.
Okay. And I also read in your book that in the movie it shows that there's one detective, the main detective on the case, but in reality there's numerous detectives that were on this.
Yeah. Found out later that the sheriff secretly was more believing than he wanted to let on. He had a lot of, he's an elected official, and he didn't want to seem like he was believing because, you're not supposed to believe these kind of things. But they had already been investigating cattle mutilations in the area. And he'd had his own...
Wolf wants to know how to get probed, huh, Ron?
Glowing object, I don't know.
So I'm gonna post this video in the chat for you guys. If any of y'all want to take a look at that video at another time, I'm not gonna play the whole thing,
I'm gonna
but
definitely look at the whole thing later on.
Yeah, I'll post it in Discord also. Yeah, so far he's told a story about when he was abducted. This is the guy who, the movie Fire in the Sky is based around. So the story, the movie itself, well, I played a half hour of the interview run from Travis Walton, the guy who was abducted in the 1970s, the movie Fire in the Sky based around. So we listened to his whole story about when he was abducted, what happened. So the movie was more exaggerated than what he had exclaimed that really happened. So I don't know. He didn't say anything about probe. He didn't say anything about getting probed.
They got George bent over on the table though.
I mean, he probably did. They wanted him to lay down on the table. I mean, yeah, you got all these figures standing around. One of them was fucking female. I'm like, oh god, they're gonna give her a strap on or some shit. He may have got probed. Who knows? But I mean, I'm gonna probably listen to the rest of that interview later on. I'm not gonna play the whole hour, and I think it was an hour and 19 minutes of that thing. Yeah, you're not surprised it was that. Yeah, it's a Hollywood film, you know. They're gonna add a little bit of special effects here or there, just like he was talking about when the beam of light shot him back in the woods. It was a little bit more. It was a little bit more intense in the movie than what it really was. So, of course, there is a little truth in the movie. You know, they do that with a lot of biopics. So, but with the way his story was going, like, at times it was like, didn't you just say this, but you're saying that? Like, he said the one figure that looked human came into the room after the three the three aliens walked out, you know. He said he was pretty tall, you know, he had facial features, he had long hair. You know, he guided me out of the room, you know, we were in a hurry, da-da-da. I didn't get a good look at him because he was wearing a helmet. I'm like, okay, didn't you just say he had wet, long hair? But you're saying he's wearing a helmet. Yeah. Maybe his hair was sticking out past his helmet, I don't know. that kind of thing.
Never know.
But who knows? It could have been a thing of, you know... You never know, you know, maybe he got drunk, you know, if you get drunk enough, you know, because back in those days, yeah, people got high and shit, but maybe they're coming from a bar or something, he got so fucking drunk, saw a light, something happened, he got fucking punched out of nowhere, you know, and then hallucinate, you know, people do hallucinate certain things, and of course... When it comes to like dream states, like if you end up dreaming, you can dream something that seems almost real or feels real. But then again, like the strangest thing, like, okay, let's say it did happen. Well, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but this guy, he's passing polygraph tests over the past 40 some years. Like every test that he has taken every so often, asked the same questions about the same story, he's passed every single polygraph test. So there is a lot of things, a lot of evidence that does add up. Like, he did say the phone booth that he used to contact the sheriff's department, you know, they come out, they dusted the phone for fingerprints to, you know, ensure that, yeah, he did use it. Yeah, it could be medication he was on or something else was wrong with him. Yeah, you never really know. It could be something. You can hallucinate. You could, you know, maybe something did knock him out. You know, maybe some kind of force did push him. Something, who knows? Maybe he was knocked out. Maybe he went into a coma state. Something did happen. Who knows? And then, you know, you could end up dreaming that kind of thing, and that'd be that. But that is the story of Travis Walton. We you know, like I said, I played a little bit of the interview. The interview is in the chat on Twitch. It's on the chat on Facebook, and I did share it in our Discord. If you guys want to check that out later on after the stream, be something interesting to actually watch. I'm going to watch a little bit more. I actually got to find that movie Fire in the Sky. But other than
it's on Netflix.
Yeah, you can always check and see if it's on Netflix. Let me see how many counts of abductions there have been in the United States. Well, let's say worldwide. Number of alien abductions. So, the most, well, definitely, let's see. How many alien abductions are there in each year? This is on answer.com. You can never really believe this fucking shit, I tell you. Let's see. How many alien abductions are reported per year? About 2,000. So 2,000 people are abducted by aliens. Why am I not one of them? I swear. Then again, it could be like that movie Invaders from, what is it, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You know, maybe they're coming down here to replace us. You know, they copy our bodies, kill us off, and then, you know, pretty much duplicate themselves, you know, clone us, you know. Maybe I'm not me. Maybe I'm not me. Maybe Fat Squatch is really Sasquatch in disguise. Who knows? How many child... Oh, that's child abductions. That's something completely different. So, are you saying that, okay, so if I compare this right, child abductions, let's see, by strangers, 410, 120, okay. So you're telling me there are more alien abductions in a year than there are child abductions? What the fuck is wrong with that?
Yeah, that statistic is wrong.
So statistically, according to the FBI, 1 to 200 child abductions are by strangers every year. Alien abductions per year is 2,000. What's going on? I'm seriously like, you know, Ron's like, I'm watching you, Wolf. How is it people are being abducted by aliens more than fucking children? Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Maybe we're all trying to get back. Maybe we're trying to get back those 2,000 people who were abducted last year. Maybe that's what's down there in Area 51. Who knows? Oh, look. Alien abductions and climate change. Oh, Christ. I'm surprised Al Gore didn't cover this. Oh, you know what? This was posted last month. It's on exonews.com. Let's see. I don't want to read all this little mumbo jumbo shit here. Polls made in the last few years indicate that somewhere between 2 and 6% of the American citizenry? That's a word? Okay. Millions of folks claim to have been abducted by aliens. The experience is apparently not pleasant. The extraterrestrial captors are said to lead victims into their saucers, lay them out on the table. Oh, God. This is going back to our Through the Doorway episode with the succubus and the incubus.
Yeah.
So get this, guys. Okay, this is what's being said here. So apparently, we get abducted by aliens. We are led into their saucers. They lay us out on the table, and they extract the sperm from the men and impregnate the women. It's all in the interest of unauthorized breeding experiments. Oh, Jesus Christ. So you mean I can impregnate hundreds of fucking women across the world? All I gotta do is just hop in a space saucer. Holy shit. No wonder women can't find out who the fucking baby daddy is. No wonder there's so many questions like, who's the baby daddy? Who's the baby daddy? It ain't me. The hell it ain't. Who impregnated me?
Real quick.
What's up?
I said, go on Murray. You'll find out real quick.
Yeah. Kang and what the hell's her name? Kang and Kronos from The Simpsons? There's your baby daddy right there. If you are familiar with UFO lore, you know that the usual explanations for these tasteless activities are that either one, the aliens are a reproductive bind on their home world, they can no longer successfully procreate, so they have to come to Earth to use humans as incubators to spawn alien lifespring. Or two, they're producing hybrid humans that will somehow help the extraterrestrials take over the planet. So, are you saying... Ron's like, I could be your daddy. So, are you saying that there's beings out there, there's clones of Wolf, Ron, me, you, anybody, there's clones of us out there that are getting ready to take over the fucking world? I fucking knew it. God damn it.
It's possible.
This shit just gets more and more interesting. Like, I don't know all about aliens, but that's a fucking, god damn, that takes the cake. So goddamn, Wolf's gonna take over the planet. God damn it. That or all of us here I guess if we all have... maybe that's what happens when we have wet dreams, you know? Maybe that's what happens when men have wet dreams. Oh god, clone of you and Wolf. Hey, to all you men out there, this is an infomercial. Hold on. God damn, where the hell's YouTube? Why did I even fucking drop YouTube? God damn it. Now my browser's taking 1,000 years to fucking pull up this shit.
That's because you just had a bad storm.
Well, it's not that. It's just I got so many things open up at once. Come on now. I don't want to play no damn ads. I could always play the Terminator theme. Oh, come on. Fuck YouTube. So. Come on. There we go. So you all saying that apparently we have families out there. We have other beings out there, cloned by our sperm. Dark has found his army. Yeah. Spermicides. Is this even picking up in the Discord? Oh, it is now. Goddamn. So, apparently, they come down here for us. They take us up in their space saucers. They're not, mind you, they're not ships anymore, they're saucers. they're space saucers. So, they basically jerk off the men, and then pregnate their women. So now we got clones of us on another fucking planet. So,
sounds like Matrix.
It does. It does. I mean, it could be it. We could be in a Matrix, you know? It's a possibility right there. So, they're basically jerking us off, impregnating their bitches because I guess the male aliens don't have a fucking pecker, so they gotta they gotta fucking jerk us off, take our sperm, impregnate their bitches, and take them back home, and then I don't know how long it takes for a fucking humanoid baby to be born, you know, out of a fucking extraterrestrial stomach. Let's see, Dr. Young Hee Chi. Okay, this is who I guess he conducted this study or whatever. An instructor of Korean at the University of Oxford in England, Dr. Young Hee Chi believes that the abductions are real, but he also claims to know what the aliens have in mind. They are creating alien-human hybrids as a hedge against climate change. Is he in cahoots with Al Gore? All I'm hearing is fucking climate change. So, aliens are jerking me off just to help climate change. That's all it is. I'll help climate change. You know, I'll do it 2 or 3 times a fucking day. Here, climate change. Just toss it in the fucking air, you know? So, let's see. To support his unorthodox theory, Chi notes that for several decades, the number of reported alien abductions has risen. No wonder there's 2,000 people abducted each year. God damn. He bases the statement on the works of Dr. David Jacobs, a retired Temple University historian, has published several books in the field of UFOlogy. Let's see. He has interviewed more than 1,000 abductees using hypnotic regression that apparently allows them to recall their unearthly encounters with aliens. She takes his claim at face value and links the growing number of abductees by producing a new model of human sapiens, or Homo sapiens. Why did I say human sapiens? I don't fucking say it anymore. So, by producing a new model of Homo sapiens, this project would eliminate the need for difficult climate accords or elaborate engineering projects. I can't fucking read tonight. So basically, aliens are coming down here to jerk us off, take the sperm to impregnate their bitches, to have human hybrids, just to help us with our climate change. Oh, Christ.
Right. That's pretty much it.
Just stick a fork in me, I'm done. Oh, God, how long we go? Oh, we went on for almost 2.5 hours. Was there anything in particular you wanted to mention about Area 51 or anything we've talked about tonight?
Nope, except I'm ready for the popcorn and the TV to see who gets shot first because they're that dumb.
I know. So there you have it, folks. Area 51, the whole thing on Facebook it's a joke. It's a big satirical joke. Somebody, I don't know who did it. It was some anonymous Facebook post to say, yeah, let's go storm Area 51 September 20th. Let's free them aliens. And then, of course, that's where all these alien memes are coming out at right now. Everybody's posting alien memes and shit. If it's not that, your Facebook timeline looks like a goddamn nursing home because there's so many old people in that motherfucker.
Hey, at least Joe Biden will be there.
Yeah. Maybe Bush will be there, too. I don't know.
Bush ain't gonna be there. Clinton might be.
Yeah. Monica Lewinsky's an alien. She's gonna suck that thing dry. There you go, Monica Lewinsky. That's what she was doing. That's what she was doing with Clinton. Here we go. It's confirmed right here. Monica Lewinsky is an extraterrestrial. She wasn't giving Bill a blowjob in the Oval Office. She was extracting his sperm. Somewhere out there in this vast universe, there's another Bill Clinton somewhere.
Right.
Oh, God damn.
Another Monica Lewinsky.
Oh, God. I mean, I don't think we didn't go into every single detail about Area 51. I mean, there's a whole lot more information about that online, about spacecrafts and the whole property and all out there. You guys can look that up. But still, like, is it believable? You know, like, I believe we're not alone in the universe. You know, there's other beings out there. Whether or not we've seen them, whether or not they live amongst us, whether or not, you know, they hover over your house at night watching you jerk off, we don't know that. But I do know that in this universe, this infinite space with thousands of galaxies, hundreds of thousands of planets, like, we are not the only being in this universe. There are other beings out there. Have we seen it? It's possible, you know, a lot of people have seen them, you know, and it's always the same reports, actually. It's always the same bald-headed beings with the big green eyes. No, not the green eyes, the big black eyes. Some are green, some are gray, some are white, whatever, but the big black eyes, you know? So it's not yeah. So it's not a predator. It's not a xenomorph from the Alien movies. It's not Conan. It's not Baldar Conehead. It's not E.T. or whatever else we fucking watch. It's not those things from Independence Day. I mean, but that doesn't go without saying. Like, it's possible they could exist out there, just nowhere near us. Like, every day, NASA is always discovering something new. Like, they, you know, that's like, what year was it when they discovered water on Mars? They discovered water on the surface of Mars. When was that? Okay. When was water? It might have been. It might have been 2017. Water discovered on Mars. 2004. Yeah, it was doing the last. Yeah, I know they were talking about it recently with something. Yeah, it's something with Mars. Yeah, but it was first discovered. Yeah, because they put rovers. That's right, they put 2 rovers up there on Mars back in the early 2000s. Yeah, and it discovered evidence of water when they explored the planet. But unlike the newly discovered water, the water was extremely acidic. So Mars is full of acidic water. So you go up there, you're gonna fucking melt. So we're not ready to go live on. We're not ready to go live on Mars. Mars is poisonous. Mars is acidic, basically.
Pretty much.
I believe that each planet has some kind of life form. I do. You know, you're not going to hear about it. Who's ever been to Jupiter? Who's ever been to Venus? We know about the storms down there, but each being of species of alien. Like I said earlier on, I find us as an alien being ourselves. We as humans, we're aliens ourselves because we're aliens to other races out there, other beings. You know, so everybody is a form of an alien. So if an alien comes down here and visits us from, let's say, Pluto, even though Pluto is supposedly not considered a planet anymore, but let's say fucking Worf comes down here, you know, we're an alien to him because he may not know what we are, you know. So let me look up the definition of alien real quick, okay?
There's too many of them.
Yeah, there's too many of them. So an alien is something that's it's belonging to a foreign country or nation. Well, there's that. What does space alien mean? Can I get that? Extraterrestrial being, a visitor from outer space. So, alien does not necessarily mean little green man or a big thing with fucking tentacles and giant teeth, you know. An alien is an extraterrestrial being or a visitor from outer space. So, let's take you and me. Let's say we decide to make a trip to Mars. And we go down there and we find a life form. Let's say it does talk. It's going to be a foreign language. You know, not everybody's going to understand English or some shit. You know, this ain't Star Trek. You know, in Star Trek, everybody talks English because that's for the show. But every being has a different language. Let's say me and you go to Mars and we discover a life being. To us, that's an alien, but we're visiting them. So we're basically the visiting being from outer space. So we're basically aliens ourselves. So that's how I feel. You know, our race is human. You know, we're human beings. We're a human race. Yes. But to everybody else out there in the universe, every other being, that's what we are. We ourselves are an extraterrestrial being. We are aliens ourselves, regardless of what anybody else says. Because, you know, when you look at it, it makes sense. So, like, you know, when we make a trip to the moon, we're aliens to the moon, even though it belongs to the Earth. You know, we're going outside. We're travelers. That's what it is. It's a traveler. That's all it is. It's a visiting traveler. You're an alien. That's all it is. That's like down here we have different definitions for aliens, you know, like illegal aliens or whatever. Somebody who's visiting from another country. You know, that's an alien. You're coming from a foreign country. You know, you may be visiting, you may be finding residence somewhere, who knows? But that's pretty much what the term alien is. Just like you stated earlier about UFOs, and UFOs are basically unidentified flying objects. So it's not necessarily going to mean a flying saucer with a being in it. It could be something as little as a weather balloon. It could be something like a frisbee. It could be a frisbee up in the air just floating there. It could be a drone. You know, people are flying drones all around. You don't know what it is. It could be a satellite in the sky. You don't know. But that's pretty much all we can cover for tonight. I mean, we went on, 2.5 hours tonight with the show. Like I said, you guys, we learned a little bit more about Travis Walton, survivor of the quote-unquote alien abduction. I'm going to watch a little bit more of that later. I'm going to try to find that movie, too. So if you guys know of any more other stories, maybe we can share, you know, anything that you guys look up, we want to talk about, let us know out there on our Twitter feed. At ArrowOfficial17. Also, Cypher. I don't know if he changed his Twitter or not. His Twitter might be the same, but I know he's been changing his YouTube and Twitch platform around here lately. So If you can't get a hold of Cypher, guys, be sure to follow us on Facebook.com/ArrowEncoded. He'll definitely see you on there. Come and follow us on there. Follow us on Twitter. Also, if you are watching this right now on YouTube, be sure to leave a subscribe to us. We definitely have a lot more podcasts on here around the same topic and more than that. And hopefully, if Empire's internet is working tomorrow or sometime this week, we're definitely going to do another episode of Tune In Live. We're going to talk about movies, music, and biopics. The depiction between the information that's fed into a movie. How much of it is real, how much of it's factual, and how much of it's fiction. And then we're going to talk about the movies themselves. We plan on talking about Netflix movie The Dirt, which is a biopic about Motley Crue. Oh god, what was the other? Bohemian Rhapsody, which is a biopic about Queen and Freddie Mercury. I've yet to see Rocket Man. I want to watch that sometime this week.
I'm waiting for that to come out.
Yeah, I know. I hear it's pretty. I even heard that supposedly Elton John gave him permission to do whatever, be artsy with the movie or be artsy with the music or something. I got to read a little bit more into that. So guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast tonight. Thank you all who came in the chat. Ron, Kira was here, Wolf was here, Koopa was here at one point. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. The whole Area 51 thing.
It's a debunk.
Yeah, it's a hoax. It was meant as a joke, and people are taking it too seriously. And if you decide to go storming, if you decide to actually go out there on that day,
I'm getting arrested.
Yeah, be warned. You're either going to. Well, I don't think they're going to do anything as drastic as shoot somebody. I think they're just going to be a lot of arrests.
Somebody acts retarded.
Yeah, that's true. So they got the barriers out there. They're going to be reinforced. If 1.5 million people actually show up and they say they can't all stop us. Okay, let's say some of y'all manage to get in there. Let's say you all formulate a plan together. Say, okay, we're going to have one group take out the fucking Secret Service and all, and then another group is going to go storm in their facilities. If you don't watch these movies, if you never paid attention to any of these fucking movies, you're not going to get past any kind of door without a special code or something like that. That facility is going to be locked tighter than a tick's ass. You're not getting in there. Maybe there's something down there that, the U.S. government does not want you to know that they have. That's how they are. That's how the government is. They don't want you to know. They claim it's for your safety, for your protection, the protection of the United States. Yeah, bullshit. But still, nobody's ever going to find out. Nobody's ever going to know what's down there in Area 51.
If you try to. Hope you kissed your families goodbye.
Yeah, kiss your ass goodbye, because it's one of two things. If you
ain't coming back.
Yep. If you breach the perimeter, I can't fucking speak. If you breach the perimeter, you're going to get shot, or more likely you're going to get arrested, and you're going to be jailed for so many years. That's what's going to happen. Can you imagine 1.3 million of the population of this country getting arrested all on the same day and then 20 to life all at the same time?
That would be an interesting election 20.
Yeah. And be like, well, Trump lost his election. What happened? All 1.5 million of his supporters are all locked up because they went storming Area 51.
I'd probably say the Democratic supporters.
Yeah.
Trump people would be that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the whole hoax. Okay, I would say this. I gotta say this. Like, I know Trump's going through a hard time right now with a lot of crap going on. I don't mean to bring politics up, but you would think Trump would come out on TV and at least give like some kind of brief message, say, look, I know about the hoax going on social media. I warn you people, it's a joke. Don't try it. For your own safety and protection, don't do it. Don't try it.
I think it's the Democratic Party doing it, because I've seen a lot of Democrats posting stuff, and no offense to the Democratic Party, but
yeah, that is true. They're known for that.
I would have to see that Trump is really just sitting back and laughing at all of it.
Yep, just like the rest of us. I'm just sitting there. I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll enjoy your memes for a little bit. Your memes are all these memes are going to get old very fast. That's usually what happens with a meme. A meme comes every month. It stays around for like 3 weeks, gets old, dies off. So even though a lot of people signed this fake petition saying, hey, we're going to storm Area 51 in September, nobody's going to show up. It's if anybody shows up at all, they need help. Because I tell you, if you show up anywhere on the property, they're going to give you one strict warning. They're going to say back off, or we will use force. They may not shoot you at first. They may just have somebody come out with a pair of handcuffs, say, "Okay, you're under arrest. You're trespassing on government property." And something's going to happen. So I would say, people, if you plan on this kind of shit, don't do it.
Right.
Like, if you want to believe in aliens, there's nothing wrong with that. There's people who are skeptic about it, and there's people who believe. Like I said, I believe there's other beings out there in other worlds. There's other beings out there flying around in these weird space saucers. No, we're not going to see George Jetson come down, with a fucking robot, do our laundry for us. We're not going to see that shit, but, I do believe that there is other beings out there. Now, what's hard for me to believe is the fact that 2,000 people are abducted every year by aliens, but child abductions is well under that fraction. 1 to 200 children are abducted every year by strangers, yet 2,000 people are abducted by fucking UFOs. What's wrong with that?
That's a big upset on that one.
Yeah. But anyway, you got any closing remarks before I close this out, man?
Just hope everybody has a good week coming up. Thanks for the men and women in the military, police officers, fire and rescue, and all that.
Yep, amen, man. And to the rest of y'all, we will be back here this week again with Tune In Live, and hopefully, Cypher, I know you're listening. Hopefully, you're up for whatever we got going this Saturday, man, through the doorway or other random craft. Just let me know. And to everybody else, have a good night. Follow and subscribe us on the following links below if you're on Twitch. Y'all have a good night, and we'll catch you on the flip.